Hello, welcome to the Art of Living Well podcast. We are here celebrating our 5-year anniversary and are just so
Yay!
excited. Yeah, this is a big milestone. I mean, we kind of gotten lost in time, if you will. There's sometimes people will ask us, how long have you had the podcast? And you kind of have to pause and think about it. And you're like, wow, 5 years. Yeah.
I I can't believe it. We had my parents over for dinner last night, and I was telling them that this week is our 5-year anniversary for our podcast, and my dad's like, "No way." I'm like, "Yes, way." Like it's crazy.
I think we got lost like with the pandemic because we started it in 99,
Mhm.
right
Yeah.
before late October. And so here we are. And so we're just excited to share with you and celebrate and just like share some of the things that we're doing. And we're going to talk about the Reimagining Health Summit that we were just at in Orlando last week. And you may have seen some of the stories that we shared. So yeah, let's just dive right in. But
Well, and I just want to say, like, thinking about our podcast and like thinking about the history of it and the years and how far we've come. I was really thinking this morning about how our first episode, we had like a multi-page script that we literally read
yes.
word for word, both of us. And I
Mhm.
remember I was like pouring sweat and I was
Yeah.
so nervous. And then I went back and listened to it and I was like, cringing. I mean, and we still have it out there. So if you
Mhm.
want to listen, feel free. Like we've come a
Yep.
long way.
We've come a long way. And then this morning, we just like chatted for a few minutes about the episode before we started recording. We're much more off the cuff. And I think that's one of the things, from a professional standpoint, I think we both have said this like public speaking, recording episodes with very little preparation, just kind of thinking through some of your thoughts, but certainly not scripting it out and being able to just engage in conversations with our guests and go with the flow. So, yeah, we'll script out questions and do our research, of course, but then half the time we don't ask many of the questions because we're just really engaged with what the guest has to say. And I think that is honestly a skill that I have seen transfer into many areas of my life, whether it's interacting with friends, with people that you're just meeting for the first time, with family, with clients, like really tuning in and listening and engaging and being present. So that to me has been a huge, like, I guess, professional development through this 5-year journey that we've had so far.
I agree with that completely. And I think, like you said, I feel like I've always been very curious and good at asking questions, but I feel like I'm able to dig deeper with people just out in the world because I have this like curiosity to know more. And we both get so excited when we have a guest on and we're like, well, what about this? And what about that? And it's kind of fun, like to be so excited all of the time. And is this a lot of work? It is a lot of work, right? But thankfully, we have each other and there's
Yeah.
two of us and we have our great interns and we have an editor. And so we're able to put this show out every week, which is pretty amazing after 5 years.
Yes. And I think one other thing, and Marnie, you said something when we were in Florida just for the conference recently that I've learned is just asking. So, like, people always ask, like, how do you find your guests? And we get a lot of people coming to us, right? Every single week. But there are some big guests that we have manifested and that have been on our podcast. And one thing you always say, which I know your dad has told you, is if you don't ask, you're not going to get what you want. And so we have just cold call. We have just emailed or used our connections and resources or DM people on Instagram. And yeah, there are some times that people may decline, no big deal, but we have had so many people say yes. And so I think that to me is always like, there's so many really just good, genuinely good people in the world who want to get their messages out and who are thankful for us for having this podcast as a way to communicate whatever it is that they're doing to help make, improve lives and, help everyone live well. So,
Absolutely. And I think, when we started this podcast, in my mind, I was like, okay, I'll do this for 5 years. 5 years. And then I'm gonna move on to something else. And I'm like, I can't believe it's been 5 years. And I personally am not ready to move on. Like this is
yeah.
one of my favorite parts of my life, in all honesty, in my work life. And it's been so amazing meeting so many cool people. I mean, that's what we really get to do, right? Is meet all these
Yes.
interesting, cool, unique people, hear their stories, hear what they're doing. And I love that. And, so people say, oh, so you're really a journalist. Well, I don't think so. I think we're more than journalists. I think we dive deep in with people and, we're hopefully inspiring people to find a way to find balance in their lives and happiness and mind, body, spirit connection and all of these other things, and not just, bringing you random people. Like, we're very thoughtful about what we're trying to do on this show.
Absolutely. And about meeting people, I can't count on both hands the number of guests we've had that I've dove into personally or my family or using products that have truly like transformed my life, and also friends, family, clients. So the number of guests that I have shared episodes, books, products with clients has been, insurmountable. Like, it's just like I just feel like I have so many more resources now, and just like an open mind to exploring new modalities and new ways of thinking. And, we all need to hear things multiple times usually before we start a new habit. And I think that's what we're doing. We may have multiple people on talking about sleep. Well, it may be like the third time you hear it that it, resonates with you and you decide to change your sleep habits or whatever the topic is. So
And
just
we're
very
on this
grateful for our
journey,
guests.
right? We're on this journey with our
100%.
listeners. And like you said, we're using the products and making the changes and doing all of this stuff along with you. And that has been so much fun. And so how are we gonna celebrate this week? We have some fun giveaways, right?
Yes, yes. And Marnie will show the hat. So if you're not on YouTube, head on over. But we have these awesome hats that we made for
Woo!
29.29. And they were personalized, but we thought, well, how fun is it to have these for our followers, for our friends, for our listeners? So
And
we're going to do a
this is
giveaway
actually, yeah, this is navy blue. It looks black in the on the
on the
screen, but
video a little bit. Yeah.
it's navy blue and white, and it says the Art of Living Well podcast. And the awesome thing about these is you can't see this that well online, but it's kind of a what would you call this
Like
material? Like
moisture
wicking.
wicking.
It's wipeable. You can work out in this hat. You can sweat in it. You can throw it in the wash in like a linen bag, and it's great. We also have it in white with the navy blue writing. So here they are. We're really psyched about the hats. And
Yes.
we are going to give the first 5 people that want to head on over to Apple Podcasts and write us an amazing review, screenshot it, and email it to us, theartoflivingwellpodcast@gmail.com, and we will send you one of these lovely hats.
Yes. So you can pick which one you want, the white or the navy. And then for the next 5 reviews and emails that we receive, we have these awesome journals, which we've had these for quite a while. We have them in red and blue. You can see that they say the Art of Living Well podcast on them. And they're so soft. Honestly, we get so many different books and things, but these are really, really nice journals. Um, and who
And
doesn't
we've
need
gone
another
through the
notebook?
journals quite a few times. We've
Times.
reordered the journals. So
Yes. Yes.
the
And they have
journals
this
are
nice
great
little.
too. But first 5 get hats, second 5 get the journal. These are also for sale on our website. Yeah, and we're just really excited about our anniversary.
Yay. Yes, it is a big deal. You're right. It's a big milestone. And I think the other thing that is worth talking about is the conference that we were just at in Orlando. So Dr. Stephen Cabral, who Marnie and I both learned under as integrative health practitioners, and we were at his conference last year, also in Florida, and we were back for year 2, and it was really energizing. And we got to meet some amazing people. There's some new guests that we're going to be having on our show in the coming months that are going to be folks that we met at the conference. We got to see Rudy Nassif, who is the co-founder of vivarays, which are these
which is what we're
blue light
wearing.
harmonizing glasses. They're harmonizing glasses, not just blue light blocking. And we had interviewed Rudy, and we will link up his episode. He's going to likely come back on again, but he was there And yeah, Marnie's just showing right now how the glasses work because they're three
Yes,
in one.
3 different lenses.
Based on the time of day. Um, so we'll link up his episode in the show notes. You can go head on over and listen to his story and journey because it's truly remarkable.
And I
Who
just want to
else?
say, like, in reference to the conference, so we left on a Wednesday morning. We got back home late Friday night, and I was feeling like I really wasn't super excited about going to this conference. And like we both did the 29029, and that was like life-changing and amazing and such a high. We were both kind of depressed when we came home
Yeah.
and just feeling like what's next and how do you tap that? And so I was kind of like I had signed up for the conference a long time ago and was committed to going, but not super excited about it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I
And
was
I
right
think
there with you.
Stephanie was feeling similar. And we got there Wednesday, and it was, Wednesday, it didn't officially start yet. And we were just like, whatever, Orlando, like not the most exciting place in the world, but it was warm and sunny. And then Thursday, Dr. Cabral kicked off the conference with a bang. And like right away, we're both writing notes and like so engaged. And like the day just flew by. And I was so happy that I went in the end. And I feel like I really, am re energized, and a lot of the stuff that we've learned in the past and just like, I don't know. I just felt really good. We met a lot of like-minded people. I feel like we really networked a lot more this time than we did last year.
I think so too. And we ended up having this kind of impromptu dinner. We went
Mm-hmm.
with five, well, there were six of us with
Yep.
four other women, and it was so fun. And I guess that's not something maybe we did last year. We actually left the hotel and, just had a really fun time. And I know those are people I feel like that we are going to stay connected with and hopefully get to see next year. And that was, I don't know, that to me was really fun as well.
And I think just the importance of going to a conference in your field, right? Like
Yes.
it's so easy to get not stuck in your own lane, but like just doing what you do
Yeah.
in your work or in whatever it is. But like taking yourself out of that environment, going somewhere else, hearing these like motivational and inspiring people speak, meeting other people, like it's so good for us. And we were saying like, we definitely want to go back to this, and we want to go to something else new as
Yeah.
well.
Yes. Yep. Um,
And
and
I was just going to say, we heard from some amazing speakers, and we learned about some new things, hydrogen water being one of them. So stay tuned on that, because we're going to dive into that. I'm fascinated by it. I know Stephanie is too.
we are.
And
And we also, there was a doctor there who has like cancer facilities in Mexico that we're going to be interviewing with. And he wrote a book. And I mean, that man could have talked for hours and captivated
yeah.
our attention. There wasn't enough time for him to share everything that he's doing. But that was just super hopeful, and how he's been able to help people. So that was really cool.
And then we
Um,
also got to lay in those Vemi beds, which we were in last year as well, which is not something you can just, I think different wellness clinics have them. It's like the company's called Pure Wave, I believe.
mhm.
And it's such a weird experience. You're like laying in this bed. I was trying to explain it to Jordan, and you put on these, sound blocking headphones, and you have the eyeglasses, and there's all these like sounds playing and different tones. And I think it's a lot of the sound therapy, which we've been
Yes.
experiencing on a different app recently. But then the
Mhm.
bed is like vibrating, but it's not just vibrating like all in one vibration. It's like different vibrations. I don't even know how to explain
Yeah.
it, but I definitely had an out of body experience during
I
that. Just
think you
so
did for the
crazy.
second year in a row. I know.
Yeah, so weird. Yeah, I don't know what was happening to me, but
Yeah, it is very cool. It is very, very cool. Um, oh gosh. There was another speaker that I was thinking about.
was
Um,
it Brian Donahue from the breathing and the somatic movement?
that was very cool. That was powerful. There were people that it stirred up a lot of emotions,
A
and it's
lot of people
similar but
crying.
different to last year,
Mm-hmm.
when we had that Alexandra on. But that breath work, it's just like the power of breath work and coupled with the music. And we were all like lying down and then we stood up and we were holding hands. I mean, it was really powerful. And it's
And
not
it,
something that we do very often at all, you know.
yeah, no, and people were really emotional. And I sometimes
They
have
were
a
going up
funny,
to him and like hugging him after.
yes. And I actually, there were people hugging all around me. And I thought it was so cool. And I loved the breath work and all of that, but I was not feeling particularly emotional. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, I just felt like this urge to laugh, which was so not the right reaction. But I'm like looking at all these people hugging and like getting tearful. And I just kind of wanted to bust out laughing a little bit,
Yeah.
but I held myself together.
Well, yeah. That's probably a good thing, right? Probably a good thing.
But it was really cool and powerful.
It was very
Um,
cool.
so that's what we have for today.
That's kind of a
Just
wrap, right?
happy anniversary to us.
Yes. Okay. Well, the one thing I will say, and this will just be a sneak preview at some point, we'll do an episode on it, is Dr. Cabral does have some new lab tests, which,
Mm-hmm.
if you're interested in doing functional medicine lab testing, and getting to the true root cause of any health concerns you have, message us. We have a link in our show notes. You can schedule a complimentary consultation to figure out which type of functional medicine lab testing may be a good fit for you. But there's a new test for glyphosate, and Marnie and I both purchased a test. So we are going to take the test and go through our results with you on
On an
air at some
episode.
point on an
Yep.
episode. And just thinking, we do, try to eat very, organic, low toxicity, following the Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 when we're not buying organic. And that's something that we've talked quite a bit about, and a lot of our guests have as well. But it'll be interesting to see what the results of those tests are, because you can't, there's a lot of cross contamination and, I don't know. Anyway, more to come on that. But if that's something you're interested in, definitely message us.
And just one last shout out to go onto Apple Podcasts and write your review, give a rating, and then send us an email at theartoflivingwellpodcast@gmail.com to get your lovely hat for our 5-year anniversary.
Yes. Yep. For sure. And also remember, we are on YouTube. So if you haven't already subscribed, go click subscribe on YouTube. Leave us a comment. It's a little bit easier to engage with us on YouTube because you can leave those comments and we can obviously respond to you. And we would love for you to, follow us on any platform, wherever it is that you listen to podcasts, and share this with friends and family members. We really, really appreciate that too.
And have a great week, everyone.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.